Okay, so I handed back the quiz, and I gave everybody a point, because if you look on the very back of that page, there's a picture of embryonic development, and then people did so poorly on that, I went back to my lecture, and I realized that I forgot to label that the gastrula. So that would be during embryonic development where you have the first opening to the digestive tract. That is called gastrula. So a blastula would be a hollow ball of cells, a morula would be a solid ball of cells, and then the zygote is the first cell that's formed when the sperm fertilizes the egg. And so you might want to go ahead and look at those diagrams in your book. Okay. So I noticed that people were having a hard, difficult time with creating cladograms and putting characteristics onto the cladogram. So before we go down to the lab to do what might be our last look at the planaria and the presence of eye spots or not, I wanted to draw some of the organisms that we have already discussed in lecture and see if we can come up with some characteristics that would distinguish them, and that we could put these characteristics on the cladogram. So what is one thing that distinguishes the jellyfish from the planaria and all the other organisms? What's one characteristic that we could put up there that is only found in the jellyfish but not found in the other four? Yes. Nematocysts, yep. So that is actually related, right, to having cnidocytes. Cnidocytes, okay. What about their symmetry? What is the jellyfish versus the other ones? They are radial, right? So the jellyfish are radially symmetric, so they have radial symmetry. And so what that means is that you can cut them in many different planes to get the same two halves. And because they're radially symmetric, what do we know about their nervous system? What is unique about their nervous system? Do they have a brain? No, right? So you can put that they lack cephalization. So I could put / lack cephalization. Okay. So I'm going to give you a list of organisms similar to like what's seen here, and I want you to be able to create a cladogram on the midterm exam and then to fill it in so that it makes sense. Okay. So if we look at the other thing about these guys is that we have a digestive system here. Right? But only here do we see a complete digestive tract. So what does that mean about the jellyfish? They have a digestive system, but it's not complete. So what is an incomplete digestive system? Right. So they only have one opening. They do not have a mouth and an anus, and that's going to be important because when we looked at the annelids, even when we looked at the dissection of the earthworm, remember that there's compartmentalization of the digestive tract. So different parts of the digestive system do different things. But if you do not have a complete digestive tract, then there's no way to compartmentalize so that like enzymes are found here, but not here. Absorption occurs here, right, in the intestine, but not in the crop, for example. Okay. Okay. So what distinguishes perhaps the these three from the planaria? What is it about their body that would distinguish those three? Oh, wait a minute, I screwed that up. Sorry, I screwed that up. It should be right here. Cross that one out. Okay, I meant to put right here bilateral symmetry. So these guys have brain, right? So they all have bilateral symmetry. Sorry about that. The complete digestive tract would distinguish the planaria from the other ones. But what was the other one? They have a digestive tract, which is a gastrovascular cavity, but so do the jellyfish, right? So that's why I put the digestive system, that they do have a digestive system back here. My pen's not working very well. Digestive system's back here. Okay, so the complete digestive tract would distinguish these guys, right? But we also have a coelom. So this is what is referred to as a pseudo seelam. So this is a body cavity. Remember that the planaria is dorsoventrally flattened. So what that means is that they do not have a body cavity. And it also means that nutrients just have to diffuse across the surface of their stomach, their gastrovascular cavity, and it has to diffuse to all of the tissues. So they don't really have a circulatory system. Nutrients are just transported by diffusion. And that's why it's so important that they are flat, because if they were bigger and more solid, then the digestive system would have a harder time getting nutrients to all the cells. They also absorb oxygen right across the surface of their body as well. Okay. So here's the pseudocoelom. This is a true coelom. So we would say true body cavity, completely lined with mesoderm. What about the mollusks? What might be a characteristic that would distinguish them from the annelids? They have a shell, and specifically they have a mantle. So the mantle is the tissue that secretes the shell. Some organisms use mollusk shells, like if you have a crab, some crabs actually use discarded shells, like seashells, to create a little house for themselves, right? But these guys have a mantle and they can secrete a shell. And then the annelids, we could say they are truly segmented. So they're segmented internally as well as externally. And this is just to distinguish them from tapeworms. Tapeworms, their bodies, those segments called proglottids, are just little clones of each other. So that's actually an example of asexual reproduction. So we say that we see true segmentation in the annelids. And they actually consider us truly segmented as well. So if you think about our spinal cord, right, we have these segmented vertebrae, right? And each segment has a little enlargement of the nervous system called ganglia. And so our vertebrae and our spinal cord are segmented. And so we are considered to be segmented animals as well. Okay. Okay, so are there any questions about this idea of creating a cladogram and then putting characteristics on it that are found in all of the other ones? So we would say bilateral symmetry is an ancestral characteristic, right? Being truly segmented is a derived characteristic. Okay, so we're going to go downstairs, and just like we have done in the past, you can leave your stuff here if you would like.